Isoquick state for their slab you want to compact where you've dug to grade. So we hired in this remote controlled trench roller, which I was working while Dad organised all the 20-ton wagons, and it basically meant we had a lot of simultaneous activity and a lot of progress in a short space of time. Dad and I, before we started stockpiling the Type 1 into the build site, we actually did a tester pile that you can see in the front corner here, where we tipped one dumper's worth and spread that around to work out what coverage we'd get for a dumper load. So our structure engineer spec'd two 150mm layers of Type 1 to build a 300mm layer total coverage. Now of course, if you set your layer to 150mm, by the time you compact that, it's going to be smaller than 150mm. So you have to take into account compaction rates of Type 1. Compaction rate of Type 1 is up to about 30%. So for us, we aim to build a starting layer of 190mm that will hopefully then get compacted down to 150mm. This is my makeshift solo grading staff. So I got fed up of picking up and putting down the staff for the rotary site level. So I built this so I could literally pull back on a section of Type 1, place this down, and it would tell me if I was at the right grade, and I did this for the whole build. First layer didn't compact down as much as we thought. I think this was mainly due to the grading base below, our ironstone just having zero give in it. So when we were putting this second layer of Type 1 on, we actually was going more accurate and building it to about 180mm layer, and this was far easier having Ellie on the grading stick to give me a bit of direction. It saved me hopping in and out of the cab of the digger God knows how many times. the next part was marking out and digging out the drains in the subbase. This I ended up measuring 3 times to ensure we got it right, because obviously these drains are going underneath the slab and we are going off drawings and line markings to where our actual toilets, basins and soil stacks will be. So it was crucial we had to get this correct. That's the kitty. That's it. Perfect. I thought the best drain to tackle on my own would be just the straight run from the utility, which was only just over a 6 metre length of pipe. So it was fairly straightforward for me to do on my own with the use of the digger and the dumper and a rake. So our aims weren't to, at this point, connect the drains into the main sewage run out to the road. We're still unsure on what falls. I'm pretty certain we're actually lower than our manhole cover that connects into the sewage into the road, so we might have to look at investing into a pumped sewage treatment tank. But our main aim for the drains for the slab was to basically get the drain runs exiting the slab, cap them off and leave them be ready for a future day once we do the rest of the groundworks. We then had to come up with a method to apply the 2 to 6 mil blinding stone on top of the type 1, and this had to be done in a 50 mil layer, and you basically have to achieve like a billiard table finish for the Isoquick polystyrene to sit on to avoid any hollows that would deform your Isoquick base. We went for setting mortar pads to the right elevation. So you'll see here, I'm chucking the mortar down and Ellie has the rotary level pickup on my makeshift staff, and we'd set that to the right gradient. Ellie would compress the mortar down until obviously we reached 0, and then that would set a pad that we could then sit the rails on top of. As you can see, we took an unbelievable amount of time to set these pads because we knew how crucial this stage would be. And this is basically an adaptation of how people screed, but we've basically mixed two methods together to try and remove any possible error from both Ellie and I, as we're not professionals. This is the first time we've ever tried to screed anything. we found the best way to load the wheelbarrow was to actually mount the bucket that Dad had modified reversed, so I could dig into the blinding stone, because we were worried that stone cost us quite a bit to get hold of, and the last thing we needed was me spreading it everywhere trying to get it into the bucket. Fortunately, I did get quite handy at doing this, and I was an awful lot quicker than the example shown to you here. While I loaded the barrows and ran them down to the build site, Ellie actually did all the grading herself. You can see the amount of care we were putting in to making sure that we had a perfect even coverage, and our actual method of using the 2 rails and the mortar pads worked an absolute treat. We had 80 tonne of this blinding stone to get down, so you can see it was quite very much a labour of love. No, nothing.
We're just waiting for somebody to bring some pipe for us. But we can keep an eye out the window. I think she's coming a bit later on.
Should?
Yeah,
To try and keep the house as thermally efficient as possible, rather than core drilling through our eco bricks walls to pass surfaces through, the most thermally efficient way is to actually bring them up through the slab. Now this involved a lot more work, and unfortunately we didn't get much footage of this, but it basically involved digging up our subbase again and sitting conduit in. And this was quite a task, because as you can see, we've marked out string lines of where the walls are going to be, and we've measured off that for the depth of the walls and the depth of the Isoquick. So it was all a bit of a guessing game, and I shan't lie, I think it did give me a few grey hairs. Our drainage design supplied to us wasn't very detailed at all, and after looking into it and thinking of how we're going to do the plumbing actually in the concrete slab above, it became apparent that heartbreakingly we're going to have to dig up the blinding stone and dig up that drain that Ellie had earlier in the video carefully put a nice dry mortar bed at the bottom of the stack. This was basically to minimise the amount of pipe work in the slab and basically give us more chances of rodding, clearing out, less chance of small 50mm pipe work getting blocked. It was a heartbreak for a day, but well worth the effort. After a little over a month of sweat, here is our billiard table finish sub base, ready for our Isoquick to be laid on top.